the water, Barakatah, Kahalayimla, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Shalom, salutations to the hopeful elect that's fighting a good fight of faith and truth and sincerity and wholeheartedly. Shalom to the Aqua, which is the women believers. Shalom unto you. And as to say, Russia to complete infrastructure for Poseidon capable nuclear submarine fleet by 2024. I'm going to read some of it, but to give you a quick summarization, Russia, they already got this in the Pacific Ocean, and it's way more advanced than the United States. They don't have no defense system against it. So as I read, it's going to explain itself, but I'm going to jump to some key points. So I'm going to start from here. And it said, but what makes the Poseidon more dangerous than the average nuke? Data on the device is limited, but the torpedoes are suspected to be a mixture of missile and drone technology, which is a scripture that I'm going to get, Isaiah 54:16. Matter of fact, let me just get it now real quick. Because the Lord created the scientists for these type of things. So it says, behold, I have created the smith. A smith is somebody who is skilled in making weaponry, and particularly in metals, aluminum and, steel, things like that, which the missiles is made out of. So it's to behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, that bringeth forth an instrument for his work. Whose work? Yahweh's. All right. But as the scripture said, he have committed all judgment unto his son. So that's why we say Yahweh Bahashem, which is in the name of Yahweh Shai. And it says, and I have created the waster to destroy. So going back, and it says where I stopped at. So it says missile and drone technology that carry a nuclear powered propulsion engine and could travel 80 miles per hour underwater, making countermeasures difficult. So it's no defense system for this. And Babylon the Great, as the scripture said, the pride of his heart have deceived him. So he put all his money into his offense and forgot all about his defense because he been the bully of the earth for so long. But as it say in Joel 3:9, prepare war. Let the weak say that I'm strong. All right. So you got nations who got the same capabilities. I'm talking about nuclear missiles. All these nations have it. Esau, Edom sold them. He allowed them to cop them, So that's him being prideful, thinking that he was going to never be dealt with. You can't be a bully without getting touched. It just don't work that way. You always meet your match. And Russia is their match. Even though Russia got allies, and even the allies of Babylon the Great, aka America, Obadiah 1:7, they're going to turn on America too. But right now we're talking about Russia and their, Poseidon nuke. So it said they carry a nuclear power propulsion engine and could travel 80 miles per hour underwater, making countermeasures difficult. To give a sense of the speed, the average U.S. nuclear submarine travels around 30 miles per hour. So that's 50 more miles per hour more than the United States submarines. So it says complete details are top secret. And the average U.S. sub torpedo travels around 57 miles, which is still behind 80 miles, 23 miles slower per hour. In other words, catching and killing a Poseidon torpedo would be almost impossible. Now, this is where it's about to get real interesting. So it's like no matter what, Russia wins. Because it says the Poseidon system functions essentially as a fast roaming autonomous underwater nuke which can stalk an enemy coast for long distance until it is ordered to strike a particular target. Then you see it gives you a picture. We ain't going to get into that. And it said Poseidon is not considered a first strike weapon because of its design, but it's instead meant to act as a post-attack trump card. So according to the scriptures, we know that from the land of Russia itself, or really the land of Israel, Because when you go in Ezekiel 38, which I'm going to get, they're going to storm the land of Israel. And then that's talking about verse 8 and 9. But then when you go to verse 10, which is the scripture I'm going to get, it talks about at that very same time, they're going to think a evil thought, and then they're going to shoot missiles on the unwalled villages. So at the same time that they're kicking Babylon the Great's ass over there in the Middle East, at that same time, they're going to press the button. All right. So all of this is going to be happening at once. That's why the scripture said, though it tarry, wait for it, it should surely come. So it says Poseidon is not considered a first strike weapon because of its design, but instead meant to act as a post-attack trump card, meaning if a large number of Russian nuclear facilities were destroyed in a first strike, and even if Russian subs were countered, Russia would still have the Poseidon torpedoes traveling under the oceans waiting to hit the target as an evolving battle space. So I was reading this and I was laughing because, when you read things like this, it's supposed to boost your faith. So basically, according to this article and according to prophecy, because that's what you're supposed to filter everything through, guess what? Gog and Magog is going to win. And then Yahushua is going to destroy them. All right. The Lord is using the nations. He's mustering the battle. But then when Yahushua and the angels crack those clouds, he's going to destroy them. All right. So all this is going to be going on. And as we just read, it says, so if the enemy, so we're going to say United States of America and the European Union, if they was able to destroy a nuclear facility of the Russians, and they wasn't able to shoot missiles from the other side of the world, they already got the torpedoes over here already. All right. So no matter what, a button's going to get pushed. But we, according to the scriptures, know that this is going to happen. That's why the scripture said this from the other ends of the earth. What is that? 12. So it said, the earth quaketh, and the foundations thereof, the sea ariseth with waves from the deep, and the waves of it are troubled, and the fishes thereof also before the Lord and before the glory of his power. Because in Isaiah 24:20, it said that the earth is going to rock to and fro as a drunkard. And as we see, Russia got some heavy artillery in the ocean. That's going to get the waves roaring too. And it said, for strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow, and his arrows that he shooteth are sharp, and he shall not miss when they begin to be shot to the ends of the world. So, basically they were just making an example. Like, even if the European Union and the United States was able to destroy, a nuclear facility where the missiles is, they still won't be able to stop this. So it's saying, let's read it again. Meaning, if a large number of Russian nuclear launchers facilities were destroyed in first strike, and even if Russian subs were countered, Russia would still have the Poseidon torpedoes traveling under the oceans waiting to hit the targets in an evolving battle space, acting independently of their submarine fleet. By extension, if U.S. or European defenses improve to intercept standard ICBMs, which they won't because it's not prophecy, the Poseidon would still be able to deliver nuclear payloads to coastal targets. Then said this is the first strike potential for the weapons, given their speed and the relative difficulty or defense against them. They could be used not as a direct strike system, but as an indirect system by exploding just off the coast of a target city, creating a 500-foot radioactive tidal wave. And guess what? Imagine, the Pacific Ocean rising up 500 feet and coming down, on Babylon the Great. That's devastation by itself. But we understand, as the scripture says, it's going to be a lake of fire. So it says they can also be used as a cavitation weapon that wipes out entire carrier battle groups. So the point is that Russia got the upper hand. This is Bible prophecy. So that's why, you filter everything through the scriptures. Even when you get an article, you make sure that it backs up the scripture. So that's why, when I read that, I was like, sounds about right to me. So this is why the Lord said this, because the modern day Medes, see the ancient Medes was Japheth. Edomites have took over Japheth lands, and Medes is up there in the Russia area when you get a Mede ancient map. So the Medes today are considered the Russians, but the ancient Medes are considered Japheth, which would be like the Samoans, the Etruscans, the Hawaiians, Polynesians, those people, which got pushed into the South Pacific Islands and Central Pacific Islands. All right. So anyway, what's about to get 17. So as we read in the article, no matter what, if they was able to destroy Russian nuclear, facilities, and they was able to have a defense system against the ICBMs, they don't have a defense system against the Poseidon torpedoes. All right. Too fast, way faster than what they got. So it said, behold, I will stir up the Medes against them. Who was them? Babylon the Great. And the small hats. Don't forget about the small hats. World War III is going to happen because of them. The least of the flock should draw them out. Draw who out? The Amalekites, the small hats, is going to draw out Babylon the Great, aka Americans, the Americans. So it said, which shall not regard silver, as for gold, they shall not delight in it. Their bows also shall dash the young men to pieces. What is the bow? All right. The bows is the missiles. And because you never heard of bows dashing men to pieces. When you shoot an arrow at somebody, you pierce their skin. You can even shoot an arrow, through a person's head, but they don't dash it to pieces. All right. So it said, their bows shall also dash young men to pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb. Their eyes shall not spare children, because guess what? Missiles don't have a conscience. When they get shot, they gonna do their duty, and they ain't gonna think twice about it. They don't have a conscience like man. And it says, in Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency shall be as when the Most High overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. And what happened to Sodom and Gomorrah? Matter of fact, if you don't know, if you don't want to take my word for it, you can actually go on YouTube, you can go on Google. This place actually been discovered. They found an element called sulfur, which is the brimstone, that's the scripture said, that is going to be fire and brimstone coming down with Sodom and Gomorrah. So the Lord, he left a lot of clues, all right? He left a lot of landmarks and things like that, graves and sites and things like that, for building up our faith. So from here, let's get another one. So it said, make bright the arrows, gather the shields, and Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai have raised up the spirit of the kings of the Medes, for his device is against Babylon. And why? Why the Lord have a problem, a controversy with Babylon? Because this is the place where wickedness spread out into the earth. This is the headquarter of wickedness. This is the greatest kingdom on the face of the earth. And through the wine that the nations have drunk of, they follow after this place. Majority of these countries are Americanized, all right, with their little alphabet, pedophilia, wicked ASSs, all right. Hopefully, I don't get a flag. But anyways, it said for his device, and even though that is an abomination, it's more. I just can't speak on it. So it says, for his device is against Babylon to destroy it, because it is the vengeance of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, the vengeance of his temple. Also, this is the place where the Lord's people, got touched the most. All right, got destroyed the most. This is the place of our captivity. Because even when we fled into the western part of Africa, not every single Israelite, but majority. All right. So we actually fled there. We didn't get taken into captivity there. We had civilizations there. We got kidnapped from that western and northern part of Africa and brought over here. And this is where we served our slavery, and we have not been out of this man's hand. And the scripture says in Exodus 21:16, if a man steal of a man, if he be found in his hand, he should surely be put to death. Last time I checked, when he stole our ancestors, we have never been back. Africa is not even our homeland. Jerusalem is, Galatians 5:26. But we ain't even been back to Africa as a nation. Just because you're able to take a trip over there don't mean that, well, I've been to Africa before, so I don't know what you're talking about. The Lord deals with a nation. The Lord said that Israelites ain't going to be in the land, I'm talking about as a nation, until Yahweh shall come. You can read that in the first 3 verses of Isaiah 14. So, make bright the arrows, gather the shields. Yahweh Bashem Yahushua have stirred up the spirit of the Medes, for his device is against Babylon to destroy, because it is the vengeance of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, the vengeance of his temple. All right. And who is his temple? The scripture says this. It said, know ye not that ye are the temple of the Most High? So you touch the apple of the Lord's eye. So this is the vengeance of his people and the elect first. And that the spirit of the Most High dwelleth in you. If any man defile the temple of the Most High, him shall the Most High destroy. See? For the temple of the Most High is holy, which temple you are. So the vengeance of his temple. Then, like I said, I was going to get. So it said, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, it shall come to pass that at that same time, so when you go over a verse above, it talks about Gog and, Persia and Turkey and Libya, because Russia, Gog and Magog is a guard unto them. They're going to storm into the land of Israel. And that's where World War III is going to be, in that region. So that's what verse 9 talking about. So verse 10, it said, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, it shall also come to pass that at the same time shall things come into your mind, and you shall think an evil thought. Who's giving them that thought? The Lord. And it said, and you shall say, I will go into the land of unwalled villages. Like I said earlier, Babylon the Great, they don't have a defense system, at least not a strong one. And back in the ancient world, lands had walls to prevent enemies from just coming through the land, and also separating borders. So remember, Trump was talking about, we're going to build a wall to keep the Mexicans out, even though it's their land. But yeah. So America don't got walls. They don't got no protection. So it said, and thou shalt say, I will go to the land of unwalled villages. I will go to them that are at rest. America's at rest. America have never, ever felt war on its land, except for so-called Pearl Harbor, which is not their land, just a land that they're conquered, like how they did Puerto Rico and things like that. But America, literally America, one of the states, bombs had never been dropped. A troop never came in and tried to, shut them down or oppress them, extort them, how Americans do everywhere else. Nobody have never done that to them. So it said, go to them that are at rest, that dwell safely. This is the place of the sown places. But the scripture said in 2 Ezra 6:22 that this place is going to be unsown. The sown place is going to be unsown. It ain't going to be safety no more. It ain't going to be access no more. It said, all of them dwelling without walls, having neither neither bars or gates. So, the Lord is setting up all the pieces. Yahweh Bashem Yahushua is the master chess player. And then if you I made a lot of videos last year doing, like, going into the United States, how they missiles be failing, they defense systems. I think they had like a C grade, and one time they had a D grade. So yeah, America's out of here, man. America, as the scripture said, it's going to go into perdition. I think that's Revelation 17:11. Matter of fact, let me see if I can find that. Let's see. I gotta find it. I'm gonna end it on this. Yep. I'm gonna start. Yeah. And it said, "And the beast that was," all right, and that's talking about the Roman Empire, "and it's not, because it fell. Even he is of the eighth, and that is America, which it started back in the Renaissance era." All right. And it came out of the Spanish, the French, and the British. All right. But it literally came out the British. But going back to it was and it's not is Rome fell, then it came back, and it started with the Renaissance era with Christopher Columbus in the game. You could say that really started back with the Borgia family, but Christopher Columbus, he's a very, a noted person in history. And it says, "And is of the seventh, and goeth into perdition." And the seventh is Great Britain. So yeah, so it was made. It was made to fall. It was made to come back again. Then it was made to fall again. And we are in that time. So for the vision is for an appointed. Matter of fact, let me just, instead of quoting it, let me end it on this. It said, "For the vision is yet for a appointed time, and at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry." And when you go into the they've been testing this since 2015, so it's ready to go. All right. They've been doing like little dummy missiles, and so yeah, they got it. Oh yeah, let me read this part for you real quick. I quoted it, I think, in the beginning of the video. So it said a 2 megaton warhead would be 100 times the what the hell? Okay, a 2 megaton warhead would be 100 times the explosive power of the bombs dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. But it also talks about how it got 100 megaton. I can't even say the damn word. 100 megaton warhead. Goodness gracious, boy, my speech impediment, boy. But hey, at least I got the truth. But anyways, hopefully this video was edifying, and shalom.